Due to an ongoing investigation by the Center for Disease Control, Colonel Versace's drive-thru implants and liposuction will no longer be sponsoring Glorious and Free. We would now like to welcome our new sponsor. If your garden isn't what it could be, maybe it's time to try a stronger pesticide, like Wrangle Up by Monsanto. Wrangle Up is a toxic witch's brew made from a varying combination of nuclear waste, anthrax, and tap water from rural America. Simply put on the included hazmat suit and gas mask, and then just point and spray the canister directly onto your food sources. We've spent decades rummaging through shadily acquired Cold War lab documents with the sole purpose of finding the world's most lethal poisons and using them to guard your goddamn garden. Wrangle Up also works on grass, so you can spray it all over your lawn and let your children and other pets roll around in carcinogenic greenery without worrying about them having to come in contact with a ladybug or anything else from nature's icky section. Just a simple bottle all over the yard, and you can let the death rattles of your microscopic enemies become your nightly lullaby. Look for Wrangle Up being sold at your local chemotherapy clinic. Wrangle Up by Monsanto. Hello, and welcome to Glorious and Free. I'm your host, Bryan O'Gorman, and this is some guy I found in a homeless shelter. It's Dan Guiry, everybody. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
Oh, that's sweet, man. Thanks for coming out to Glorious and Free.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. Dan is a comedian and a performer of all kinds. You're an actor.
Sure.
You do all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of you're oftentimes a controversial character.
Sure.
You do a show called...
The Danger Room. I have a show called The Danger Room.
Why would you call it The Danger Room?
Well, I based it off of that room in X-Men called The Danger Room. You know, the X-Men would go fight the fake dangerous bots, the Sentinels.
Yeah.
And then they'd practice. And so, our show's kind of like that. But, we have hecklers. We have hecklers. Instead of the Sentinels killing the mutants, we have hecklers.
People heckle at you?
Boo and heckle. So we encourage people to boo and heckle. A lot of these comedians are fucking garbage. Have you seen a lot of these fucking asshole comedians out there? They're just fucking trash.
Yeah.
And they got to stop. They got to quit. Get the fuck out of my way. You know, I want to go do stand-up, and then so I'll go to a show, and I want to try out some new jokes. Like, I got some new jokes that I've been writing, let's say. And then I get there, and then I got to wait for a bunch of fucking assholes who suck balls. Just dick-sucking ball suckers up there. Wasting everybody's time. So at the Danger Room, we crush their dreams, and then hopefully they quit. Ideally, they just kill themselves or something. Stop. I don't like these guys. They're a waste of time.
So it's your way of, like, culling out the comedy that you don't think is funny.
Any sort of thing that throws you off your balance is going to sort of mess with you. And if you've been practicing with the worst of the worst at the Danger Room, you're going to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And then you're on, then on that big show, you're not going to be, all fucked up in the moment.
We're going to talk to you about a lot of wonderful things today, Dan.
Okay.
First off, you're having a baby? When's a baby due?
October 2nd. Month and a half away.
Oh, wow. Well, as of this taping, that's about a month away.
Yep.
Are you nervous? Are you happy? Are you all kinds of things? You're still wearing drug shirts, so nothing's changed in that regard.
No, I mean, I'm pretty stoked, man. It's going to be fun.
That's it.
I'm terrified. I'm nervous. But at the end of the day, what do you put a house over its head,
right,
and you feed your wife, and then she lets it suck her titties.
Right.
And then... What's the problem?
I guess the end of your social life is what I would worry about. But
I don't know about that. I mean,
different strokes.
I mean, there's like maybe 4 people I like hanging out with, and one of them's my wife.
Hey, what if you don't like the baby? That's what I always wondered. Like, if the baby comes out and your just personalities don't match, like it's a real, like, conservative thinking, like, fucking dude who's really into watching The West Wing and stuff, like old reruns of The West Wing.
Sounds fucking great, man. I love The West Wing. First 4 seasons are dope.
You're the kind of guy that would just love the kid no matter
I'm going to
what.
like the kid. I mean...
What if the kid's a murderer?
What
if the kid murders your wife?
I mean, that's what I'm worried about, because she wants to have one of these, like, natural births, and I'm just worried that she's going to, like...
Whoa, that's one where they just fucking jump on her belly and it fires it out, right?
Yeah, basically just squats over a fucking bassinet.
I've heard that. They do that in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's modern shit. They get the mom to lie down, and then the dad, he jumps on the belly. And
I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, it's a big comical. They don't have baseball there. It's a big cricket mitt, So I wanted to ask you some questions about, what it's going to be like to parent this kid in today's world, right? Like, this kid is not going to know what it's like to not play with iPhones or any of that stuff.
I think it will because I'm not going to be able to afford an iPhone.
Are you going to? You'll have an iPhone.
Yeah, sure.
Come on, the kid will be able to play with play screens and
he's got like VR
screen.
goggles and shit.
Yeah. Or would you maybe like try to keep him away from some of that technology?
I mean, yeah, studies are saying that it's pretty addictive, and there's actually technological dementia right now that our generation is dealing with to the point when like we don't even really, like I think I mentioned it earlier, like in terms of having conversations with people, we're so distracted by technology that we really are losing a lot of the ability to have conversations.
We're going to show you a video of what we think your wife Montina might be. It's a self-driving stroller. So you don't have to actually touch the child. So just go ahead.
Why would I want to touch my child?
Yeah, no, it's... Look at this.
That's the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, that woman is not a mother, first of all.
Yeah, no, that chick is not a mother. There's not a baby in there. Look at that. Chick's on the phone, and she's got her baby in the stroller. It's driving itself. She doesn't give a fuck about that baby.
There's a bottle warmer in it.
The whole ad is about not paying attention to your baby. It's like these people keep walking away from the stroller.
It says to prevent theft, it like alerts your phone. So if there's distance control, if somebody steals the baby, it just sends you a text message. That's why you have to hold on to the stroller, right? So people don't steal your baby.
I don't know why you would put your baby in something some fucking incel fucking hacker can just hack into, and like now you're gonna have some fat fucking Dorito finger motherfucker like hacking baby strollers, bringing it into his basement, be like, Mom, I got 3 fucking babies coming in, I'm gonna fuck all afternoon. Fuck that shit. If you buy that, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
This is why white people don't have as many kids, because they're just like, I can't afford a self-driving fucking stroller. And all my freaking friends and my friends are like, how are you going to do it? I'm like, I don't know. You put a baby to a tit and you hug it. What's the problem?
From 1957 to 1964, the Central Intelligence Agency used Canadian resources to perform illegal experiments on unwitting mental patients in Montreal, Canada. Psychiatrist Donald Ewan Cameron was paid handsomely to run the Canadian wing of the MKUltra mind control program, which took patients who entered Canadian hospitals for minor depression and turned them into human guinea pigs to serve his evil agenda. The experiments included shock therapy, sexual abuse, and even putting patients into drug-induced comas for months at a time. Victims developed permanent conditions such as retrograde amnesia, incontinence, and false memories. Neither the Canadian nor the American governments have formally apologized for their involvement and funding of the MKUltra Montreal experiments and refused to release documents related to the program. This has been a fucked up part of our heritage. There's some stuff happening in Canada. It's sort of like echoing what's happening in the States, where they're tearing down a lot of the statues of some of the Confederate figures and stuff. They're starting to tear down statues of
John A. Macdonald.
John A. Macdonald, what you would call, I guess, the founding fathers
he was the first
of Canada.
prime minister.
First prime minister of Canada. He's on like our $10
He was a
bill.
raging drunk.
Yeah, I think
He
they
was
all
always
might have been.
fucking shit-faced.
Was he?
Yeah, always. He was just like, give me a whiskey, and let's go kill some natives. That's what he liked. He didn't call them natives back then. He was like these savage.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to give you some quotes
Uh-huh.
from John A. Macdonald.
Sure.
And I want you...
To respond?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
In the school, when the child lives with his parents, who are savages, and they learn to read and write, his habits and training mode of thought are Indian. He is simply a savage who can read and write. It has been strongly impressed upon myself as head of the department that Indian children who should be withdrawn as much as possible from the parental influence, and the only way to do that would be to put them in central training industrial schools where they will acquire the habits and modes of thought of white men.
What's interesting is that the residential schools actually didn't stop being in circulation or were in use until 1996.
96?
Yeah, what's crazy is if you watch the part of our history where they're like trying to do reconciliation, they're like 1884 is when the residential schools started, and then they conveniently leave out the fact that it ended in 1996. So you actually have people in our generation, our age, who were raised in this fucking shit.
Yeah.
My friend Christine, a little older, But she was taken away from the tribe in yellow buses by these RCMP and clergymen.
How old was she?
She was 5 or 6.
And they just take them out like straight out
They
of the
went
home.
into the reserve, they grabbed them, picked them up, beat the shit out of their parents with billy clubs, put her on the bus, and then when they started speaking native talk, like whatever language they were, the priest would come over, hit them in the face with a blackjack, and just beat the shit out of them. They force-fed all these kids acid, like LSD, to do like trials and shit, beat the shit out of them, raped them, all that
Wait,
fucking...
they did like acid trials, like MK Ultra acid
Fuck
trials?
yeah, dude. This happened to my friend Christine. She was high on acid
Where
for like...
did they do that? Where was that? Because I know
In
they did
Ontario.
it in Montreal. They did it too, right?
In Ontario.
Montreal, in Ontario, they did that
In
too.
Northern Ontario. Yeah, she had a fucked up life, man, and
That's wild.
she's
I
like
had
what?
no idea
she's
that they
in
were
her
involved.
60s or some shit.
She's in her 60s.
Yeah.
I had no idea that they were involved in those acid trials. That's crazy, man. It seems to me like a lot of the governments will just use these marginalized groups to sort of test out their science experiments and shit like that.
We grew up not learning about this.
Well,
and,
that's
and
it.
that's what
Yeah.
truth and reconciliation is all about, is like the truth.
Yeah.
It's not just about reconciliation. And like, you know, your average Joe Blow white guy's like, why are we giving all these natives money? It's like, you know, but that's not what it is. That's not reconciliation. Reconciliation is, I hurt you, and this is how I hurt you, and I'm sorry. And that's truth and reconciliation. It's like, there's still not clean drinking water. There's still, like, the natives have a gross domestic product of like $12 billion. They bring in a lot of fucking business for Canada. And they do, like, considering that they're like such a small population, they ain't fucking lazy. They need help to get clean drinking water out there. But the thing is that the government doesn't want to do that, because if they do that, then they have no recourse to go in and take their children in foster care and say, and that's what the genocide has been. Is like they say, you're unfit to raise these kids because you don't have clean drinking water. Meanwhile, we don't give you any of the resources to get that clean drinking water, and we don't help you out in any way.
Right.
So you are an unfit, guardian of these kids, and we're going to do a good service and come in and take those kids. Maybe the residential schools aren't being run by the Catholic school right now, but you still have foster care going in. And a lot of these natives are dealing with alcoholism and shit. But it's like, it can be used as a weapon against them to be like, well, you're an alcoholic drug addict. But it's like, you didn't have parents. These people didn't have parents. These people didn't have... They went into a residential school, got sexually abused, and now they're self-medicating with booze and fucking drugs. And the only hope for them is to have a future generation. But if we've been taking away the future generation en masse for the past 100 years, every generation,
Chipping away more and more.
they have no reason to strive to be better.
So that's why I think, like, when we read this stuff, it is shocking, because we weren't taught about it. You know what I mean? Like you're saying. But also, it's like important to look at it from the eye of today and be like, this is still going on. Like even just like you're saying, this it continues to go down. Every generation, a little bit more of the culture gets chipped away, and that's by design. And anybody who thinks it isn't by design or thinks it's a conspiracy theory that it's by design to take away the native culture, here it is in black and white. You know what I mean? This is out of the mouth.
Founding father.
Okay, we have done all we could to put them on themselves. We have done all we could to make them work as agriculturalists. We have done all we could by the supply of cattle, agricultural implements, and instruction to change them from a nomadic to an agricultural life. We have had a very considerable success. We have had infinitely more success during our short period than the United States have during their 25 years. We have had wonderful success, but still we have had the Indians, and then in these half-breeds, Dan...
He's talking about Louis Riel.
Well, yeah, as he goes, and these half-breeds enticed by white men, the savage instinct was awakened, the desire to plunder, aye, and perhaps the desire of scalping, the savage idea of a warlike glory which pervades the breast of most men, civilized or uncivilized, what aroused in them, and forgetting all the kindness that had been bestowed upon them, forgetting all the gifts that had been given to them, forgetting all the government and the white people and the Parliament of Canada had been doing for them in trying to rescue them from their barbarity? Barbarity. I was going to say Barbary. I think that's a kind of haircut. to rescue them from their barbarity.
Scalp
Forgetting that we could... the old native barber cut, the old native haircut.
Yeah.
Forgetting that we had given them reserves, the means to cultivate those reserves, and the means of education to cultivate them. Forgetting all these things, they rose against us. So you should be fucking grateful that we gave you a fucking little piece of land and showed you how to take care of it properly. But the reality is they're not showing them how to take care of it properly. And like you say, all that stuff where they're trying to turn them into something else than they actually were in the beginning, which was
Well,
fine.
the other thing is they're bringing in all these like other crops that didn't work here, and the natives there's all this great food in Canada that they used to eat that we don't even know about anymore, like these little fennel things. And they're good for you, and if you live in this climate, they work. But they weren't they were nomadics, and it's just like saying to some fucking I don't know. It's like saying to a Chinese guy, "Stop eating rice, you fucking ungrateful fuck. Here's a potato."
Yeah.
And and they're just like, I don't eat that shit.
Yeah, and also, if you're a nomadic tribe and your whole deal is just rolling around, having a good fucking time, and then one day somebody's like, you stay put and you never move, you'd be like, but we've been doing this for thousands of years and it's worked out fucking fine.
Not how we work.
Yeah, we like to roll around, dude. It's like taking a band, like a sweet touring band, you know what I mean? And saying, you know what? You guys sit here in the middle of a fucking field and play to nobody.
There was also this huge megalopolis, this native megalopolis underneath St. Louis, I think, where the 5 rivers meet, and it was a huge city that millions of people would live in, like a huge tent city, and all the tribes would converge there and do their trading and stuff. And so it's all fine and dandy for the British and the Americans to be like, oh, well, we're Canada and we're America and you guys can't go over this line. Meanwhile, everybody from the north and everybody from the south would meet up in St. Louis. And if you go to that city, underneath the city, that city's built on top of this city. And a lot
St. Louis is?
Yeah.
It's built on a legit native burial ground?
Huge.
Dude. And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Endangered Allies, where we talk to endangered species all over the world directly and find out how they're doing and see how we can help them. So today, we'll be talking to the bee. Hello, bee.
Hi, it's Eric, actually.
Oh, sorry, man. I just sort of sometimes call people by their species name as opposed to their personal name.
Yeah,
Eric.
Humans have a problem with that. I'm Eric the bee.
Who named you Eric? Like if your mother gave birth, did she name all you guys?
Yeah, that's what they do. So fucking, you got one job to do: make bees and name them. What the fuck?
Yeah.
How dumb do you think we are?
Can you name all your brothers and sisters' names?
Yeah, but we'll be here all day.
Bee humor is so clever. You guys are not around as much as you used to be. I've been noticing a lot less bees than there used to be.
Yeah, we're dying off in record numbers. And, a lot of your fucking crops there that we like to, get pollinating is covered in poison.
What kind of poison are we talking here? The poison is killing you guys?
Well, there's poison killing us. There's pollution killing us. There's fucking assholes who are afraid of bees killing us. I get it. We're related to the wasp, and the wasp is full of fucking asshole fucking wasps, but we're not wasps.
Whoa, just easy with the racism there. Easy with the racism a little bit, okay?
Fuck wasps, all right? You can kill all the wasps you want. They don't do anything good for the fucking world at all.
We're going to edit that out. I don't want any wasps calling me with any fucking...
I'm not talking about Christians. I'm talking about wasps.
When I phoned you, I knew that you would be easily irritable because every bee, I don't mean to be a racist, but every bee I've ever met, if you look at him sideways, he's coming at you, trying to sting you, trying to stab you in the eye with his ass.
No, you're thinking about wasps.
Oh.
If you meet a bumblebee, any of my brethren, you just tell us to leave. Let me tell you something. All you have to do, if you see a bumblebee or a honeybee come up to you and they're getting in your space, you say, hey, honeybee, hey, bumblebee, you're in my space. Can you please go over there? I guarantee you will listen and go over there. If you do that with a wasp, it'll sting you right in the dick.
So a big reason that you guys are dying off is the crops are being messed up? Is that what's happening? You guys don't have enough pollen?
You guys are covering all the crops in pesticides, and then you're only growing loser-ass crops that we can't pollinate. We need more pollinators out there.
So, like, say this stuff that Monsanto has done, like they've did the Roundup. Is that giving you guys skin problems too? Are you getting rashes?
You know what? If the bees die, if we die off, guess what? All your crops die. Guess what? You all die. Think. Use your head.
All of us?
Yeah, because you won't be able to eat. There'll be a massive drought. Everything will go to shit. We keep this world going, all right? We got one job to do, and you're fucking it up for us.
What if we just ate, like, chocolate bars after you guys died?
You can't get chocolate without bees.
Nah, fuck. Chocolate, too?
Everything, buddy. We pollinate all that shit. We are the dicks of the plant world.
Wow.
Like the penises.
You guys are way more important than I thought. I just always thought you were some asshole group of pricks that like to hurt people and freak out kids and give people...
No, we're good. You need bees. You don't need wasps.
I'm going to be honest, you're not an easy sell to help save. I've had a couple other animals on here. We've had a mountain gorilla on here. We've had a sea otter on here. Very cute, very sweet, very adorable. I got to be honest, you guys look like a horror movie up close. So it's a hard thing to sell to the people to save these things that give them nightmares. Do you know what I mean?
You're one to talk, you ugly fuck.
So there's a lawsuit against you're familiar with Monsanto, Alberta boy. They fucking do some damage out there, don't they?
They had this patented seed out there that they used to take over a lot of farmers' land. So they had this seed. The wind would come in and blow the seed because that's how
wind works.
That's how life works. You know, life fucks.
Life fucks in the air. Life flies around and fucks.
Well, the universe is conducive to life. You know, water grows, or
Right.
water falls.
The
from
seeds
trees.
would blow into the
so
other
they blow
crops.
over
Yes,
here.
yes.
And Monsanto corrupted this by creating a fucking patented seed, genetically modified, and it would blow over in this field. Then they'd send out these fucking dudes, and they'd come check the crop and check the seeds. And if you had one seed in your whole field that was from the Monsanto seed, they'd sue you. And you can't fuck with fucking Monsanto because they got all that money, and farmers maybe make $10,000 a year after everything's said and done. They can't compete. So then they just get sued and take their land, and now Monsanto owns both these plots, and this farmer's fucked. And so they did that all over Alberta with the, ironically enough, the rapeseed.
The rapeseed it's called?
Yeah, it's called the rapeseed.
That's what I call your baby.
It's it's canola, but
Yeah,
it's actually called the rapeseed.
Wow.
Yeah. That this one company, multinational company, has started inventing these seeds that take over other seeds and don't reproduce. That's fucked up. Like, they're actually actively trying to take over our food source.
Yeah. Oh, no, they're trying to monopolize it.
Yeah.
Just bought by Bayer recently too, man. The people that make aspirin and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
So they're gonna rebrand it, kind of like the same way that they did with that Blackwater mercenary company, and they rebranded it Z and then something else because the name became famous and synonymous.
Okay,
with,
so you have Nestle, who owns all the water.
Right.
You have Bayer, who owns all the health.
Yeah.
And then you
now
have Monsanto, who owns all of the food.
But Monsanto and Bayer are now one.
And so, what's
The
next?
monopoly
now,
continues.
Now fucking
Well,
Nestle.
but what's nice is what's nice, but they have done
Nice.
some really rough stuff. There's the Roundup thing that happened, which is there's a fella who was a groundskeeper who was using Roundup, which is a pest killer, weed controller kind of thing.
Just hook it up to your hose, and bam, it mixes the right amount of product and water, so you'll be killing weeds in your lawn in no time.
He was using it for years, and then at one point, one of the vats, I think it exploded or something, but he got covered in Roundup, and it gave him non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he sued Monsanto. How much did he get again? $289 million, which is a lot for most companies, but for Monsanto, that's
Nothing.
That's a drop in the bucket. But still, that sets some kind of precedent, right? So they're gonna start suing the fuck out of that company. There's gonna be so many people, but literally, it's giving people cancer, and Roundup is on everything, man.
You know what? That's what I find so fucked up about this is that we've somehow sold the ability for this company to give us all of our food and spray it in poison, and so it's all of our food is all covered in poison.
Not all of it, but like the stuff that's been, I don't know, like it's hard to actually tell like how much of this stuff can be washed off, how much of it can't. This guy, he got covered in it, and he was a groundskeeper, so it was on his skin.
Who the fuck came up with this idea that we're going to spray our food with poison? Oh, it kills the bugs? Fuck you. What the fuck are you thinking, you fucking retard? You're going to put poison all over the food, and then you're going to wash it off? Fuck off.
Yeah,
and so now you wonder why
you.
everybody has celiac and everybody's gluten intolerant. You want to know why you're gluten intolerant? Because half of it is fucking Roundup. And it's on Cheerios. It's on every Kellogg's product. It's on everything.
Yeah.
You can't take that shit off. It's poison. And it doesn't go anywhere. It's toxic. Every revolution in the history of humankind starts with us not being able to eat bread. And everybody's gluten intolerant and celiac disease.
There's got to be a connection for sure between like the things that we're eating and like how nobody was gluten, like gluten sensitive in the 1700s or anything like that. And if they were, there's no record of it. Nobody ever brought it up. No one was ever like, this bread's making me puke and I feel horrible when I eat this bread.
Yeah, because it was like simple fucking bread without all this poison covered in it. It's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard of. Pesticide, herbicide. We're animals too. We have this hubris of being humans to think that we've got all this intelligence, that we're above being alive. We're not. Just because we think we're sentient doesn't mean that we're not human beings. We don't have this fucking vehicle. We're an animal.
Man, sweet guest, as always. I love you to death.
Love you too,
I'll always love you to death. And we'll have you back again real soon. Give us your social medias.
All right. Danger Room, at Dan Guiry on everything. B-Side Lounge on Tuesday. Got the Comedy Jam. And then the Corner Comedy Club Niagara just opened. It's a great time. You should check it out.
I like the B-Side Lounge one a lot. That's Dan has a band playing behind the whole time when you're doing comedy. It's a good
it's
time.
pretty fun. I love jamming with it. It's fucking
You're a
dope.
good musician too, man. So go down, check Dan out and all that good stuff. Check him out online. Thanks so much for hanging, Dan. Dan Guiry, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, be nice.